my friends. Welcome to another episode of Rules Speed Through, the show where I take you through the rules as quickly as possible so that you can get back to playing and enjoy the game as fast as possible. So today I'm going to take a look at Solenia, and I'm going to be focusing on how to play the solo player mode in this game. So without any more delay, let's get to it.
So let's start with a brief component overview. One of the novelties of this game is that the board is actually going to be changing as you travel. So as your airship moves up, the board in the back is going to be separating, flipping over, and coming around to the front, revealing new tiles and slowly turning from day into night, or vice versa, depending on how you set it up. The game is basically a resource gathering game, a little bit like a pick up and deliver, but it's got some other elements to it. On the personal board, you have a situation where you have a lot of different slots for storage. You have some bonus tiles here and some other things that I'll talk about in a little bit. You've got a hand of cards. These cards have numbers on them, 2, 0, or 1. Those are going to be what you use to activate your spaces. They also have bonus bottom icons, which I'm not going to go through all those, but those activate when the card is dropped off the back of the board. And then you have your AI deck, which is exactly the same as the deck that you have, and we'll talk about that. Over here are the different contracts that you're going to deliver to, and this is the airship that's going to be traveling throughout the game, kind of moving the game along. And then you have a dice that you're going to be rolling to figure out where the AI is going to be placing the components. Looking a little bit closer at the board, you see a couple of different icons. You see stars, you see rocks, water, and then the food tiles. Those are going to be where you're going to be gathering resources and then delivering them to the star tiles, which is the point of the game. Additionally, you're going to be flipping this over, like I said, which is going to reveal new tiles as you go forward. So when you're playing the solo mode, the first thing that's going to happen is the AI is going to go first. They're going to roll a die. They're going to look at the number, and then they're going to count from this space around clockwise as to where they're going to place the card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The card will go there. You flip over a card. You put it down. That is the end of the AI's turn, unless it is a 0. If it's a 0, then we go forward with the movement of the airship, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But that's the simplicity of the AI here, is that they're simply rolling a die and placing down cards. Additionally, if they place a card and it is on a star, they're going to choose the rightmost contract, which either corresponds to day or night, and they're going to remove that contract from the game. So this is a day space, being that it's illuminated, and they're just going to go ahead and remove that from the game. They don't score any points, but they also deny you from getting that contract, and it just does enough to make it a little bit more challenging to plan. Then you go ahead and you refill that. Additionally, it should be mentioned that when the AI rolls a die, if their spot is filled, you then would look for a spot further out on the board to fill your choice, but it has to kind of be adjacent to the one that it would normally go to, and you want to skip. You don't want to put it in the inner ring, you want to push it out to the outer ring if at all possible. Now, on a player's turn, the player is always going to have 3 cards available to them in their hand, like this. And since it's solo, it's nice to splay them out. When you play a card, you're going to replace it immediately with another one, but this gives you the opportunity to put your cards a place where you can see them and then plan your actions. So on your turn, you are going to do one of 2 things. You are going to either place the card as is on the board, or you're going to extend the voyage. In order to extend the voyage, you have to have a resource in your storage to be able to discard. So if you place this card, you can place it at any spot that is adjacent to the spot of the airship, or you can place it under the airship and take the action on the card. If, however, you wanted to place it over here, you'd have to extend and basically spend 1 resource by discarding it for each space that you went away from the actual airship. On future turns, you are able to place a card adjacent to one of your existing cards. That is totally fine. No need to spend any more resources to do that. Now let's talk about the meat and potatoes of what the actual cards do when you place them down. When you place them down on a spot, there's going to be a number here. This number is going to tell you how many resources you are going to get from what you see in the window. So in this case, I would get 1 food for doing that. And I would take that food and I would place it in my storage. If my storage is full, I would have to discard something before I place down the food. If I put it on one of these star spaces, I must be able to fulfill one of these contracts. And if it's a night space, it must be a night contract. If it's a day space like this one, it must be a day contract. And so I would have to have in my supply the goods necessary to fulfill this. So before I would be able to place here, I'd have to do 2 things. Number 1, I'd have to be able to fulfill this. And number 2, since there's no cards here, I'd have to have an alternate resource that I could just discard to get me there. So if I did that, I would be able to take 1 point, which is marked with these point star symbols here in my supply, and then I would have to trade in the goods associated with any of the contracts that are available here. So I would do that, and then I would get this contract. Once I have a contract, I have a decision to make. I need to place it in one of my open spaces. Now, when you're playing with the advanced side, you have to place the contract in one of your level 1 slots first before you can place it in a level 2 slot or a level 3 slot. You have a choice of one or the other. And depending on where you place it, will activate a specific bonus, which I'll let you discover in the appendix because they're varied and it would take too long to go through that. However, as long as there's an empty spot, you can place it there and then potentially take advantage of whatever the bonuses that you've unlocked. This, of course, will also be worth points at the end of the game. Right here, as you can see, the 4. And you're going to score points for every pair of light and dark contracts that you have. So 1 point for the first pair, 2 points for the second pair, 3 points for the third pair, and so on. And so it's kind of a nice way to gain points. In addition to getting these, the points on here, also pairing them up will get more points throughout the game. Now let's talk about what happens when you place one of these cards with a 0 and the airship moving. If I place this card, I will place it down following normal placement rules, and then I get no resources for doing that at this time. So no, the 0 means you get nothing. If I was to place it here, I would still, again, I'd have to have the extended voyage, but I would still be able to fulfill my contract. I just would get no stars for doing that. But then I have to move the airship, and when I move the airship, it moves forward 1 space as indicated by the card, and then I take the last tile of the board, flip it around, and insert it in the front. And now I have new tiles open for me in the front to be able to explore, and the board is changed up. Now let's say on this tile, I had cards, okay, from previously played turns. With these cards, I would go ahead and activate any of the bonuses that were found on them. So in this case, the bonus here allows me to score extra points because I have a wood card on a wood tile, I have a stone card on a stone tile, I score 1 point. Or in this case, I just get a specific resource. I would go ahead and get a stone. And there are other cards in here that you can explore, resource gathering cards, ones that just say 2. So for instance, this says 2. I would go ahead and get 2 stars. And so a major component of the game is making sure that your cards fall off to give you additional points, additional resources, and additional bonuses throughout the game. When those cards fall off, they simply come to a discard pile, and you're going to go ahead and set them aside out of the game as you move forward. Now, if any of those cards were the AI's cards, they simply fall off the game. They don't get any bonuses. There's no additional bonus for them. The only time the AI really interacts besides placing down cards is when you place it down for them on one of these stars. They're going to remove that contract and take it out of the game. And so the game is going to progress until you have exhausted your pile of cards. You're going to go through each and every one of these, and once you are done, the AI is going to run out of cards, and you're going to run out of cards, and then the game is over, and you're going to score up your total points. And so at the end of the game, you're going to score your total number of points for the stars that you've had, your total bonuses of anything that you may have activated throughout your ship here. You're going to get 1 point for every 2 resources that you have remaining on your storage area, and then you're going to get points for the number of the pairs and the actual amounts found on these tiles. So again, a day and night pair, the first one's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So your first 4 pairs will score you for those specific things. Again, 1 point for the first pair, 2 points for the second, 3 for the third, and 4 for the fourth. And that is the game.
All right, and that is how you run through Solenia using the solo mode. Again, I appreciate any comments that you might leave. If you enjoyed this video, please consider throwing me a like and subscribing, and I'm going to continue to put out more videos to help you get back to the table faster, and I hope that you have a great day. And until next time, I'm John LaRuffa for Rules Speed Through.